Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This will be not too long. This will be pretty short compared to my others. I wanted to talk about for this Solar RPG workshop video. I think this is number 4. I don't know why I'm losing track already, but wanted to talk about analog play versus digital play when it comes to RPGing, because this has been on my mind ever since I started the channel. And to be honest with you, it was very convenient to play or do these videos digitally, but then I drifted to analog with occasional mix of digital and analog, but analog meaning tabletop, obviously. Now, again, because I didn't play RPGs much when I was much younger as a kid, I didn't really get that experience playing it at home on a tabletop with no computer in sight. Traditional character sheets, writing the racing, all the using your pencil pen, however. But when I first started doing this digitally, again, it was very convenient. I had all my data, on my Google Drive, had tracked all my character details, sheets, and rules, and I would show the rules on the footage. But as I'm always inconsistent, I would have a different layout every time. So I was relying very heavy on my capture device and my computer. So it was, working overtime. I didn't have this newer laptop, but I was using an older computer. But as I was watching it and uh, watching and finding more solo RPG channels on YouTube, not just myself or a few others, I was seeing the beauty of analog play, traditional tabletop. It was far more intriguing and immersive compared to digital. Nothing wrong with digital. I'm not talking down about either way. It's totally up to your preference. And for me, I still can't decide. I still I play more tabletop analog, but there's a side of me that wants to keep playing digitally because of the convenience and not using physical space. Because again, I don't have a studio. I don't have a budget for a dedicated room to set up a studio and a nice backdrop with a bunch of, D&D or RPG themed posters or background, all my books behind me here. I don't have that convenience. So later down the road, I truly hope so. I really like in a year, that's my dream. I want to have my own dedicated room that's not a bedroom, kitchen, living room and combined to one, but an actual studio room dedicated for my videos. And I can talk to you guys in person and then switch to like a multi-camera setup where I have the tabletop view uh, for the session. Now, when it comes to that, that would require a huge mix of digital and analog. So the beauty of both worlds combined and playing it with the traditional tabletop, but also using digital to capture, to track all my data and notes and all that. But in the perfect sense, in the perfect world for me, it would be a couple of cameras. It would be my camera focused on me like this, and then I'll have my jib camera, my camera rig focused on a table so you can see the dice, and I would occasionally, you know, do shoot to edit when I would be recording, and I would have a switcher board so I can switch to my face camera, and be like, all right, let's discuss what we can do here, and I would talk to you guys in person and go back to the board. So, and I can always try a split screen so my face is over here and you see the board, you see the table over here. I've done that before. It's not too difficult, but just using both the web camera and on the computer and the camera I have in my jib. Now, back to digital versus analog, because that's more of a convenience tool for recording digitally, not actually necessarily playing digitally. Now, playing over like Roll20 or Foundry or VTT, whatever system you use, all these systems have pros and cons. They all have perks. They all have features that are either free or paid for. I'm not here to discuss like which is the best or which is the most convenient. For me, it's always Roll20. That was my go-to. That's the first one I learned and learned to use. Thanks to an old friend of mine, we tried Roll20 for some time, and we found ourselves liking it more and more. Now, Roll20 has made some advancements. They fixed up the UI because that was one thing I did not like about Roll20 was the very blocky interface and laggy experience when moving the map around. But they fixed that. It's actually very far more passive. It's far it looks almost the same, but it's cleaner, and it's a little more responsive on the clicking and on the dragging of items. So. Plus, Roll20 has all of those built-in character sheets that keeps growing, and there's a huge community behind it. And then you still, I would use D&D Beyond for my digital character sheet, which I've done plenty of times on this channel way back when I first started. D&D Beyond was my go-to. I literally had a few videos dedicated to just creating a character sheet because I felt so proud of making a character sheet in the easiest method compared to actually making a D&D character using the book and reading the rules, while D&D Beyond gave you the step-by-step process, and it would help you in filling out the details where you barely have put in any effort whatsoever. So D&D Beyond, it has a campaign. It is a VTT in a way. They're working on alpha maps. Haven't been there in a little bit, but they are consistently upgrading their alpha maps. And but I do like D&D Beyond's character sheet, digital interactive character sheet is my favorite out of all of them. But I think Roll20's D&D 5e character sheet is heavily underrated, but probably utilized by a lot of people. And it is a very, the Character Mancer, I believe it's called, it is a very powerful tool. But for me, I kept leaning, when I was playing D&D often, which I don't do anymore, I just play all these other rules light games. Roll20 was my go-to. Now, Roll20 does have a few of my, the indie, um, the smaller rules games, like I think it has Dungeon World, World of Dungeons. I don't know about Scarlet Heroes. I don't think it has Maze Rats. But you can also import your custom, or you can just use a document. You don't necessarily have to have a character sheet in the UI. So that's another thing about digital. You want to figure out what ecosystem you want to keep track of all of your content for the campaign if you do have a long campaign compared to a one shot, which is just a book at best. But if you plan on growing your world, you want to figure out what is best for you for your keeping track of all your campaign details. For me, it was Google Docs. I tried to put it all in Roll20, but I wasn't too confident about having all of that in one uh, in Roll20's interface. Wasn't a big fan of how it kind of manages your documents. You can put the documents in there, but just wasn't a fan of the UI editing the documents. And it's still it's better since the update. They had the new engine, whatever they use for the UI. But I prefer Google Docs. Like it's all in my drive. Like and the folders are just there. So different campaigns, I just click on the campaign I want to go to, and I have my and again, it's in my videos a lot. I show my location list, character list, factions, paths, quests, etc. So it was all there, and I'll check notes with each Google Doc. And that's when I was more of a solo journaling channel. Like I typed in almost practically everything I would say, or everything my character was doing, or characters were doing. But now it's more so lighter on the notes and more so on the engagement and the immersiveness of the actual, you know, actions of the character and the setting. So, but I still have those moments. I do take the notes when I need to. But I'm trying to step away from that. The bad thing about doing that is I'm forgetful and I will forget things that happened or did. But in the end, it's like, am I having fun? Yes. Okay. Who cares? I'll retcon something if I forget and just move on. So if it was a group play and it's very serious, it might be wise to take notes and keep track if you're the DM or GM and you really want to keep track of certain details because you don't want to piss off your players and they'll correct you on the spot and you'll have to pause and take a look at your notes and oh crap, I didn't track that detail. So however you guys play, I'm not an expert. I'm not here to tell you you should do this. It's just there was more convenience for digital. However, if you grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, however you got exposed and played tabletop RPG games, whether it was D&D or not, I'm sure you probably prefer the nostalgic feel of actual tabletop, holding the paper, going through the book, writing down. That's how I become. So even though I'm still torn between digital and analog, I love the experience of playing on the table itself with the books, with the oracles, with the dice rolling. That's a whole other world. I prefer now compared to my earlier parts in the channel. I prefer rolling the dice, actually physically rolling the dice. So, this my special case D20. Love rolling the sound of it hitting the either whether it's leather or it's the soft padded wood. I just prefer rolling the dice to it, and it's far more satisfactory compared to digitally where you just click and you see the dice roll. There are some really great dice rollers online. There's one, if I don't forget, I will put the link. It's a green screen dice roller, and I've used it before in my many videos where I would pop it up in OBS, and the site has a green screen. You can key out the green, and it just shows the dice. The dice are purple, I think, and you'll see the dice. You can choose which dice to roll. You click it, it rolls, and the physics were debatably good. But I found some recent new rollers, and I'm gonna put them all up. I'll remind myself, put up all the. There's like th two or three that I've used, and some new ones I found. So I'll try to put up these virtual dice rollers. They're just made by random people, and they're really great. I think some of them are made with Unity, and that seems to be a pretty popular engine for making games. I don't know. I'm not really part of that world, but um, so and please down in the comments put down what you prefer. If you prefer analog play tabletop, or if you prefer all on the computer, all digitally because of convenience. So if you look at the computer screen and you just prefer to have it all in one ecosystem in one world compared to having all the books and things laid out on the table, which I mostly do now for my videos because and it seems to be quite popular where people like to see the actual actions on the table with my web camera pointed down. And I had that scare with my tripod or my boom arm. And like I said, in my last video, I literally made an update video about, hey, I bought a new camera thing holder. So, but in any event, that's really all this video is about. It's just what you guys prefer. I'm not necessarily hinting at anything like what I'm going to be doing moving forward. And I learned not to make promises on this channel. So just keep doing what I'm doing. I'll try different things, of course. This is all an experiment, as I like to say. This is my Mystery Science Theater 3000. So um, digital dice rolling is always interesting. And again, check out the links below. They're not affiliated, not promoting them. I'm just saying these are some I found. And for me, I just prefer the dinging of the noise of the dice. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next workshop video. Thanks for watching.